Live, live. Are we live? I believe that we are. What is going on? If you're just watching this replay, I just want to say thank you for being here and let me know how you're feeling in the comment section. Really means a lot to me. I'm always reading the comments. Literally every morning I get up, I'm reading the comments for you all. So I just want to encourage you guys to leave those comments. That's really the only real interaction I get with you all here, and it really means a lot to me. And on a side note, anyone who is looking for a little bit of help, you can always drop me an email, a message for a little bit of guidance. I never really talk about it so much. I need to do a better job with marketing, but I want to let you guys know I'm here for you. Send me a message anytime. And today I got something interesting to talk to you about. Hope you guys can hear me. And by the way, this was not planned. So I usually have things written out before we get started. But I just was like, let me just jump on live. I moved into a new place, so I need to check the Wi-Fi. And also I get a lot of messages from you all about this thing about courage. And I hope that after seeing this quick, short and sweet live stream, that will help some of you all who have these really big dreams and big goals. And if you're new around here, my name is Luke. Lukelifecharms, they call me, and I just love serving people and bringing value and letting you all live the best life you can. For me, that means the most. If you guys go out there, share your story, share your light, we'll get into that later in the week or maybe next week. Seeing that for me just really, it gives me goosebumps. I meet you guys literally in every country I think I've been in. I've met someone, one of you all, and there's always been someone's like, Luke, I'm traveling the world now, or Luke, I did this now. And the first thing, if it's been you already know the first thing I say to you is I'm proud of you. It takes courage. It takes courage to do that. People don't understand. People will, when you tell someone your dreams, your big goals, they're going to respond to you through their lens of their own fear. You have to think about that. Some of you have big dreams and you want to do stuff and you're telling people and they're looking at you like you're crazy. And you have to understand that they're speaking to you and responding to you through their lens. They would never do it. They don't have the courage to do it. Find someone who has the courage. Like, what if you found someone who had crazy courage and you told them your crazy dream? They'd be like, go for it. Like, people tell me, I get so many messages. People like, Luke, I'm selling everything. Hey, Luke, I'm moving here. I'm doing this. And I'm just like, I'm so proud of you. You know, you should do it. Every moment when you put your soul on the back burner, I believe you start to almost die a slow death from the inside out. I truly believe it. Like I say, I meet people when they're in the best moments of their life. I meet people when they're happy, when they're enjoying, when they're traveling and all this, and then they go back to this other life that they're not looking forward to going on. Not everyone, but a lot of people. But the people who have that drive and that fire, when they travel, they get excited, or when they do something, when they give to their community, they get excited. Like, if you could keep that going, create a life and build a legacy around that. When people ask me, am I a coach, life coach? And I used to go with those names, but I help people build a legacy. Like, I help my clients to build a legacy, and legacy goes way beyond everything. Everything you can imagine, the fears, the beliefs, you go beyond that for legacy because you're thinking long-term. And if you're thinking about your legacy, one of the things that you'll realize is that, wow, legacy is what I'm going to leave behind. And when you start to really focus on that, we'll have a whole nother talk on that. But when you start to focus on what you want your legacy to be, and you were to say, Luke, I'm ready for my legacy. If you're a client of mine, I'm like, Luke, I'm ready for this legacy trip and build this legacy. What do I need? I'm going to ask you guys to just bring one thing. It would be courage. It would have to be courage. Because I want you to think about this. I kind of just posted it on my Instagram, by the way. But the question I said is, like, what do you want the courage to do that you're not doing? I want you to think about that for a second. And by the way, if you guys can hear me, can you let me know if you can hear me in the comment section? Let me know if I'm coming in clear. Like, what do you want the courage to do that you're not doing right now? Like, I want you to think about that. Because so many times we talk about, like, well, I want to do this, Luke. I want to do this. I don't have the money. And it's like, you don't have the courage. Because courage, you know, everyone watching this, you guys know what to do, I promise you. Most of the things you want to do, you're able to do it right now. I just had a talk with someone the other day about this. They're like, Luke, I really want to, I really just want to like live off the grid. They want to just travel full time. And I was like, well, why don't you just do it then? But I have a job and I have this. I'm like, but you're able to do it now. And they're like, no, oh, Luke, no, I can't do it right now because I don't have a business set up. I don't have any money coming in. If I leave my job, I don't have, it's like, but you can though. Let's not get started on this call and get your transformation. Let's not start this on a lie. Like, because we started on a lie. Like, I want to travel the world. I want to help people, but I can't do it right now. But that's a lie. You can do it right now. You're not doing it right now. So the reason is, why aren't you doing it right now is the question. So the thing that I think about all the time is like, well, you don't have the courage to do it. Okay, that's a great place to start. Admitting that you all can do exactly what you want to. Maybe it doesn't bring in all the money you want or all this kind of stuff, but you're able to do it right now. So just understand that, because I think it brings you a peace of mind when you can be honest with yourself. And when you can say, well, I really want to do it right now, but I feel scared. Those are the funnest people for me to talk to and to work with, because then you're being honest. So now it's like we can create a picture. It's like, well, what if you did have the courage? I can give you another question for today. What if you did have the courage? I want you to think about that for a second. Like, some of you want to travel, and I say travel a lot because that's really what so many people write me about, but it could be anything. Asking that person out on a date, taking that leap, getting the home, or starting an organization or a business or whatever it is. Like, if you had the courage to do it, what would that look like? Like, what would that look like if you had the courage? And just think about that for a second. Because I mean, you guys see me, and I kind of, and can you guys let me know in the comments, by the way? I mean, see the comments, I can't see. Can you guys hear me in the comments right now? Just if someone could be like yes or no. Give me a yes or no. I wasn't looking at the comments before. But so many people look at me traveling. So many people look at me traveling. And also, guys, we got to get the likes up, man. We got to get these likes up a little bit. Just a little bit. Because so many people look at me traveling, and people look at the things that I do and places that I've been. I promise you guys, especially when I first started traveling, 95% of the people that I met were making more money than I was. Without question. Without question. When I started traveling, when I would travel in the summers, like you guys saw the vlogs, the first part of the vlogs, the first 3-4 years of vlogs when I was a pro athlete as well, like everyone I met was making more money than I was. Everyone, because I wasn't really making anything. I had the money from playing, but I didn't have a business and I didn't have anything online. And that's the same excuse that I hear people say why they don't do it, because they don't have the money. They don't have the job or the business they can run online. But one of the things that people forget is that you guys forget about what can happen to you. Like if you just like left home or moved into a small place and just like sacrificed a little bit for a little time, I think you'd be surprised. Because when you meet someone who has jumped, when you meet someone who has had the courage to do something that no one thought they could do, that was super scary, you bond instantly. Like you bond instantly. And when you bond with these people, they tell you things that they did. They give you opportunities. So many businesses and ideas and things that I did to make money and to create things online, I met because I met other people who had jumped as well. I met people in Bali who got me into crypto. Now I'm really big into crypto. Got me into merchandise. You guys know I sold t-shirts people still can get them now. But I did that. Like you keep thinking because I don't have a business or I don't have any idea how I'm gonna make money when I travel, even though I have this little bit saved where I could do this for 3 months, you forget about the people who you're going to meet along the way. You forget the person who you are going to become by doing that. You're forgetting who you're going to be after you've jumped. Like, just think about it. Like if you had the courage, to do what you know you should do, and you did it, Like, think about that feeling of whatever that is. For me, it's having for me, living in a really small, chill apartment in a place that I love. I looking outside my window, literally, I could maybe almost reach a mango that's outside my window. And it's a mango tree full of mangoes, and I don't even know how I'm gonna eat them all. And it's my favorite fruit now. But imagine like who you're gonna be, like the ideas that you're going to come up with, the ideas that you come up with if you were in a better environment because you took the leap and jumped and learned how to build while you fly. Imagine who you be. Some of you would be so shocked. Some of you have been working so hard for so long and doing so much. And to have a break and time for you or your family or however you want to do things with would just like set your soul on fire and restart that fire that you think is out. You think it's out. You think it's burnt out like a candle. But I promise you, you just need a spark. Some of you guys just need that spark, but it's going to cost you a little bit of courage. And by the way, I just back in the comments, I got my mic. I'm not at my desk right now. I'm like sitting on these. I'll give a house tour later. Let me see. Carl, I don't understand your comment. What defending only against attack against 5 others, some people will curl up and ball. I think it's more about, defending, it depends the context, like fighting or what. It sounds like a little bit of emotional management or mastery would be helpful in that situation. But one thing that really comes to my mind is just the courage. I really would love to see more of you all just acting on the things that if you had the courage to do it, just thinking about what that would look like. And sometimes if you're scared and you can't really think of like, I don't know what that would look like, the more you focus on what that looks like, the more you bring it to you. Like now you're like, well, I'm scared to do this. And that vision gets kind of like drowned out every time you tell people. I know for me, like when I was like, I want to play in college, people were like, well, I don't know if you can. And people throw that doubt on you. And it's like people are throwing water on you and you're this candle going around with these big dreams. Like this candle is going to be huge one day, a huge bonfire. This one will bring a lot of people together. And it gets diluted. It gets people just throw their own, they throw their own insecurities and they throw their own fears onto you. But I'm telling you guys are so much braver than you think. You're so much more powerful than you think. Like a little bit of courage, that's it. And just think of what it looks like. Don't try to find the courage. Like things that I see that don't really work is when you try to force something. But just think about if you did have it, what it would look like. Because then what happens is you sometimes break down the fear. Let's think about a relationship. Like some people don't want to do that or get married or whatever it is, or start a business because they project all these things that are horrible. But what if you projected something different? Like, what if you projected something like, what would it look like if I had the courage to actually do that, to pop the question, to start the business, to take out the loan, whatever it is, just to push record? What that would look like. Like, because there's benefits that people don't see. Take myself, for example, because it's the easiest example. On YouTube, for probably the first 6 months I was on YouTube, I literally didn't make a dime. I made no money, nothing from YouTube. I spent so much more on YouTube than I made when I first started. I needed to buy a camera, then I needed a mic, then I got another GoPro, and then I brought a new software program, then I needed a new computer. All this while I'm not making anything. But with that legacy in my mind, thinking of building a legacy, thinking of building something so far down the line that it's like, well, this sacrifice will pay off down the road. And it's just like realigning what's most important to you to make it so that it's more easy for you, more simple to do it. And I think that so many people, for me, were always just like, Luke, why would you do that? And so many times we lose the courage because we feel like we have to explain it to people. You know, we'll do a talk on these on intuition, but there's so many times where we're just like, it doesn't make sense. They're asking me all these questions. I don't know, but something tells me I should just go. But then you stay and then you find reasons to stay and you find reasons to justify why you stay, even though you know deep down you should leave. Even deep down, you know you should change that place, that job, that person, that country. Deep down, you know it. And because you don't have the courage, what you have to do is end up telling yourself a lie, like, well, it's really not that bad, or I just need to do it for a little bit longer. But you don't understand there's the luxury tax. One of my favorite books, it's a long book. I still recommend it. I think it's amazing. It's called Sapiens. And he talks about the luxury tax. And I was talking about this to someone the other day about the people in Mexico, how there's a huge gap in how much people make. But percentage wise, I was like, people spend about the same. Meaning if you make $100 a month, you make $1,000 a month, you find an apartment that's roughly at whatever people spend, 20, 30% of what they make. Some people maybe more, but it's the same percentage. You make more, you spend more. Now, I don't agree with that philosophy, but that's how it is a lot of times. And what happens is you get tricked. So you stay in that job that you don't want to, but then they promote you so you make a little bit more money. And then when you make a little bit more money, you buy a little bit more things. And now you're in the same situation you were in before. So it's like sometimes having the courage and keeping that end goal in mind is one of the things that makes some of the biggest differences. I literally have like my mic that I'm using, and it's like blocking my screen so I can't see everyone's message. Let's see. So Craig, I was just telling my sister how I feel like I have no motivation to really go for something right now that excites me. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I think motivation is very external. I think one of the things that Adelice, I think that's how you say your name, Perdomo. I think something is just like you have no motivation to really go for something that excites you. But if you don't have to go for it, I would ask you, what's exciting you right now? What's exciting you right now? Like, what's exciting? Because sometimes we kind of miss out on what is exciting in our life right now, even little simple things. If you guys are on, I don't know where I posted this at, but I wanted to get like an air purifier. Like I've been waking up, like it's happened a lot, probably for years. I never thought about it till now, but I'd wake up and my nose would be stuffy or my eyes would be itchy because I have allergies or I'm not sure what to exactly what has happened in different places. And then after like 5 minutes, I'm fine. And then something just hit me up with this, like this thought came to my mind, like an air purifier. So I started to look all into air purifiers. GB Plus, thank you for your comment on my Instagram. I took your advice and a couple other people's as well, but it was just like, wow, people I know and people I don't know are all telling me it's a great idea. And last night I probably got the best sleep I think I've gotten in such a long time, despite a long night and going to bed very late. I still slept amazing after I bought this, but that excites me. You know, Adelice, that like something like that excites me. My ear purifier excites me. And what I think about is like that excites me. Now, how can I use that energy? Because you got to think of energy as coming in and then it has to go somewhere. If we go based off of the law of conservation of energy, energy is never lost, or it's never created or destroyed. So that means the energy has to go somewhere. If I get excited and then I just let it kind of just leave me and go, so like, why not keep getting excited? Why not keep getting excited? You have something amazing happens to you, use that excitement to solve the problem that's going to create. Because every solution you find creates 3 or 4 problems. It's how the world can keep on going and keep advancing, whether you notice it or not. Some of you, that when you have that courage, for example, you have the courage to take that trip to travel the world or to leave that job. Now that taking that step is going to open up a whole nother window for you. You're going to see a whole bunch of more problems that you never saw before. You never had those kind of problems. But it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just showing you something new. It's how you keep evolving. It's not a flaw. It's a feature of our evolution. It's a feature. Because now, for example, I moved into a new place and it was like, I like it. And I was like, I just need a couple things for it. But then as I put my stuff here, I was like, well, I need a place to have things to cook. I need a table. I need a desk. But then after I had that, I was like, well, now the desk is here, but now I got to create a more organized space. So then my brain went to think, well, how can I make this more organized? What can I do here? What could go here to get this stuff off of the floor that I have? Oh, I can get this. I can get this. And then I realized that when I came here with all this stuff, now it felt really cloudy in my room. When I come home and I'm breathing and I'm like, it's a little bit tough to breathe in my room compared to outside. So that opened up something totally different. That opened up air purifiers. And now I've looked into it and how much air purifiers make such a big difference. It showed me a whole nother world now. Now I'm like, wow, the air is really important. Like, especially if you're in a city, because the air inside your home is worse than outside, because at least outside air can blow. The air in your home just sits there. And when no one's there, no one's moving, no. So every time you do something, every time you take a step with courage, because we sometimes think when I take a step of courage, everything should work itself out. I've told this story a million times, and I'll probably tell it 100 million more times. Like, people don't understand. Like, there's so much of my private life that I don't share on YouTube. So it always kind of just, it's annoying when people just see what they see on YouTube and then they use that to think, oh, that's why he did it. And it's like, well, you have no idea, because I share 20% of what I do and decisions I make. People see the effects of what I want to share of that. And one of the things was leaving basketball. Like in 2019, I left basketball for a year. That's why I left for 1 year, because I wanted to travel. I wanted to see what I could do in the world. I wanted to see how my YouTube channel could grow, how we could reach more people. And I knew that I'd have support in some way. I knew someone could maybe support me, or I'd figure out a way. And that's when I was in Asia, is when the whole world shut down. The whole world shut down. There wasn't a place that I wanted to go more so than where I was at. Like, I didn't have a really business and YouTube. Like, wasn't sure what to do, but it was like the courage to just do this, like hitting that hit of like, okay, the next thing, okay, create like a mastermind, get people in this, sell a program. And I think about that all the time, because probably every week I get like a long comment from someone who watches like older videos, and they're like, here this guy is trying to sell us something. And I used to get rubbed the wrong way, because I'm like, it was scary for me to do that with that person who I was back then. I think I was trying to get people, and I've told this before, is I was trying to sell a program for like $10, a vlogging course. Because I'm like, if people can learn how to vlog and share their life and document their life, like, man, they could make money. They could, like, for me, more important than the money that I've made on YouTube is the opportunities. A lot of the opportunities I've had to turn down because of moral reasons. I didn't like it, or I didn't want to go with the company, or I wasn't in that country at the time, or something like this. But I was just like, wow, after those opportunities, people get those who don't really have money or anything. So the opportunity cost of not doing things, the opportunity cost of not going with what you feel you should be doing. Like, if you don't like the way your life is, what are you doing about it? Like, what are you doing about it? If you don't like the way your life is, what are you doing about it right now? Like, if I could have the $1 million question, if you don't like the way your life is going, what are you doing about it right now? Waiting for it to be over? Waiting for things to pass? Waiting for things to go back to normal? I think anything with waiting in it is very victimish mentality. And GB Plus, it's great to see you too. Utilize trading. Hola, amigo. Hola, ¿cómo estás todos? This is what makes life better now, living far away to live as far. I think life is what you make it. I had someone ask me that question the other day. They literally were like, Luke, what is life? And I was like, it's what you make it. Nothing more, nothing less. I think when things started to go crazy in the world in 2020, I got so many messages from people in my family and everything around telling me to be careful, wear a mask, and do all these things when you're living in Asia because of everything that's going on. And I wanted to bring them into the reality of like, well, there's a lot of other things out here too. I was like, I'm more worried about not getting in a head-on collision here in Vietnam with my scooter. That's at the top of my list. That's at the top of my list. You know, we tend to sometimes forget about, and because of social media, we tend to forget, like, whatever you believe is going to be kept thrown into your face, because social media is going to create their algorithm to go off of what you believe. So you stay on their social media. I'm not complaining about it, but it's something to be aware of. So if you think the world is flat, just type into Google, like, flat earth theory. You'll discover a whole nother world. You'll be hit with ads and friends and people who believe the same thing as you, which just make that belief that you have even stronger. Like, it becomes such like people are like puppets, and you have to just stop and look at it. Like, stop just saying yes to everything. Like, stop just saying okay to everything. Like, ask a question about it. Ask a question about it. I was out last night, must have been around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm out, I'm not by myself, and we're in this park swinging on swings, and like it's like 12:30 at night. And we see this family walk by us, this family of like 4 people, and they were all wearing masks. And I have nothing against, people can do whatever they like, that's on them. But I was like, I wonder if they question, like, do we need to wear this mask at 1 o'clock in the morning? We're on an empty street and we're a family walking together, or like people don't question it. And I think that's very cultural as well. People don't question things. Like, question it. Like, not only just what's going on in the world, question yourself. Like, what are you still doing there? What are you still doing? What are you still doing at that job? One of the things why I tell people I'm not a coach for everyone, because I've learned, like, just to hit deep with questions. Like, what is that job bringing you? You're not happy there. What is it bringing you? Security? You're going to sacrifice your time and your life for security that can go away in a heartbeat? That doesn't make sense. And then you become so addicted to security, it's impossible to have courage. Because courage would mean you have to leave security and go out beyond the gates. You have to go out into the horizon. That's scary. And I've lived my life in security my whole time. And every time I have security, I just get worse. Do you think having a secure life, does that make you more brave or less brave? Do you think someone who lives a life very secure and they've done that for 10, 20, 30 years, you think that person's going to take more risk later on in life? Do you think so? Some of the most interesting people that I've met, including my best friend, Russell, like, if you guys don't know the story of me and Russell, I should make a video on it one day, is me and Russell met because he asked me if I played basketball, and I was like, yeah, but I mean, a million people ask me that all the time. And I just like, what's your story? He's like, I'm from Australia. I was like, what are you doing out here? How long are you traveling for? He's like, oh, I've been traveling for 2 years. I was like, whoa. I was like, how do you do that? What'd you do? He's like, I sold everything. He's like, I sold my house, I sold my car. Like, for me, that shows me, wow, this guy has some courage. This guy had to go through some difficult times and challenging times and go against what everyone else was saying. Everyone, especially me and Russell met when we were both younger. I think, I don't even know, early 20s when I met him. And I think one of the things that really stood out to me was the courage that this guy had at that time. And when you hang around people who are brave, who are courageous, and they take risks, it wears off on you. And you start taking risks. You take risks based off of course, what matters most to you. And for some of you, if your health matters most to you, you're going to do things different than if money matters most to some people. Because I promise you, what is actually secure? What is actually secure? Like, what is secure? You think the job that you're working in is secure? Your 401k is secure? The stocks are secure? Crypto is secure? Some things are more secure than others, but if they just shut down the internet like this, how secure is everything? And now, because what's happened is now you've built this life on being secure. One of the most beautiful examples I have of this is living in Asia, and even here in Mexico, is if you cut off the Wi-Fi, people are fine. People are fine here. In the town, some of the towns I've been, they don't even have phone service in the whole place. Nothing. They're fine. Western society, we go crazy if they say the internet's down. They still know how to function. They still know, oh, we know how to hunt. We know how to kill this chicken and skin it and gut it and everything and sell it. Some of us, especially me, before I went to Asia, I had no idea. I'm like, if I want chicken, I've never even seen a real chicken before. If I saw chicken, it was in a box from KFC before I went to Asia, and I see them everywhere. And now I just go to the market and look at them. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the security, does it make us stronger or weaker? That's my question. Does it make us stronger or weaker? Because you've gotten so used to being secure. Is this why your courage is getting less and less and less? You think the more secure you are, the more you've built, you spend all this time creating all this security in your life. You think in a few years you're going to be willing to give it up after spending all this time creating it? What do you think? I'm not sure what your answer is, but I think it's very interesting what your answer is. And that would determine a lot, because it's hard. It's difficult when you've lived in security your whole life to then take risks, because you spent your whole life avoiding risks. You spent your life going in the opposite direction. And for you to just change, clients that I've worked with, people that I've worked with, it's been because of some traumatic event. It's some traumatic event for them to get out of the security, because it's a myth. It's like, I promise you, it's just like it's not really there. Find 3 questions to ask it and you'll see that it's not really there. Some of you don't get it. Like, you don't get it. It's not there. They can print more money. Now the money you've been saving forever goes down in value. They can stop shipping lanes or whatever. And now all the stuff that you thought was secure is not. They could close all the grocery stores, all the people who ran out. My fellow Americans who went to the stores and took everything off the shelves. Even that's the next problem. Now you feel like you're so secure, and now you got to defend it now. Now you got to defend it because you've got all this stuff from the store, and you've got all this stuff hoarded in your home, and now you got to defend it from people. So now, are you going to be more open and friendly to people now? Now that you have so much, we're going to be more closed off. Are you going to have more security installed? Live further away from people? And it's just like, how do you break it? Then, Luke, if this is true, Luke, what can I do? Well, you can work with me, number one. But to give you something right now, what you can do the opposite. Look at what you're eating. Is this what everyone else is eating? Do the opposite. Look at where you're going. Is this what everyone else is doing on Saturday night? Do the opposite. And here's the thing, you'll probably get a different result than them. You'll probably get a different result. People have this facade of security. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. It makes me crazy. Anyone who is part of me in group coaching, you already know, I talk about this all the time. You want security? Go to prison. You want security? Go to prison. That's the only place that I can think of where you'll have security. You'll have iron bars. You'll be safe in a cell. You'll have food given to you. That's what security looks like. Some of you guys just need to see that image so you can see, like, well, the security I have now is kind of the same thing. I think I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast a while ago, and he was talking about it, because if you've never really worked a 9-to-5 job, it's really a whole nother world when you speak to someone who does. Like, I know for me, at least, like, I worked at Target one summer when I was like 16, I think. I was 17. And that's my only experience working at a job. And I remember that's where all my experience and thoughts come from when it comes to that. And he's just like, Joe Rogan said, he's like, isn't sick days crazy? And the guy he was talking to, like, what do you mean? He's like, sick days, like, you only can be sick 4 or 5 days a year. That's it. And then he just started laughing. He's like, what if you were sick more than that? And it's just like this whole thing of, like, everything, the way the world is, the way that things are set up, like, it's just enough to give you enough. You make just enough that you can live, and then to pay taxes, and then you make just enough so that you can still keep going, and just enough that you can go on vacation, and you have just enough time that you have the vacation to go, and then you have just enough time to work for another holiday that's coming up that's going to give you a break. And it's just like this thing, this thing, this whole, it's like a Ferris wheel that everyone just keeps getting on, and no one asks any questions. Nobody asks any questions. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just ask a question. Find a powerful question. How long are you going to stay working at that job for? Let's go there. I had one, I was working with a new client, and one of the things that I was talking to them about was, I was asking them, like, well, do you like where you're living at right now? And they're like, yeah, it's cool. Like, I like my job and everything's great. And I was like, well, do you still want to be living in that place that you're living and working at that job 6 months from now? And it was crazy. There was just like a silence on the Zoom call. And I was like, he's like, I don't know. I never thought about that. And I was like, that's interesting. It's very interesting. You never thought about that. That's a very important thing that you should think about. You still want to be there in 6 months. Because what happens, if not, 6 months is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to come soon, faster than you think, slower than you know. It's going to happen. So the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to be? If you can ask those questions early on, then all of a sudden now you're able to see it, put it out in front of you. Like when I work with people, I don't just tell you what to do. I very rarely do that. We just take everything out. You can look at it yourself. See that you're scared. See that that it's holding you back. See the when you don't take an action, what's the opposite result of that? See that for yourself. Look at that. Like, look what you're doing to yourself. Looking at this place that you're living and working, and the people that you're surrounding yourself with, what is it doing to your soul? What is it doing to your soul? Thank you, Ray Ray. I see you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Much love, much love, much love. Glad you caught the live too. I usually don't do it at this time, but I was like, let's just do it. Let's do it. Somebody needs it. Maybe it's me who needs it, you know. The thing is, like, when you take out what you're doing and you look at what it's costing you, because as much as people talk about pain makes people change. Pain teaches you things. Now, what that pain means to you, that's different. Everyone defines it different, you know, and they do different things, but it makes you change. But what it means to you decides how you change. I've told the story this many times of the brothers. I don't know if this is here in group coaching. I think here, maybe 9 or 10 sessions ago. Like, when there were these two brothers, and long story, if I put this whole 5-minute story in 25 seconds, there were two brothers. They were abused as children, and they got separated, and they never heard from each other again, basically, until a reporter found one of them. He was a multi-millionaire, owned a bunch of companies. And that reporter seeked out and found a brother. The brother was poor and homeless on the street for the last 15 years, or I think it was 10 years. And what he did is he brought them both together. I know I'm rushing through the story, but he brought both of these brothers together. And they met, and the brother said, I had no idea you're on the street. You know, I'll take care of you. He brought him a house. He got him employed in his company. And he did all this stuff. And then the reporter had a very important question to ask them, but he had to ask them this question in private. So the brothers got separated into two different rooms. The reporter asked them both the exact same question. He said, what was the reason you got to where you are? And he asked the homeless man on the street, what's the reason you're homeless on the street? What was the reason that led to here? And the person said, you know, I got here because, you know, I was abused and had an alcoholic father. That's how I ended up on the street. And then the reporter leaves the room, goes into the other room, asks the millionaire brother, you know, what happened? Like, how did you make it here and own all these companies and all this land, and now able to take care of your brother and you give to your community? How are you able to do this and make all these millions of dollars? And he said, very simple. I was abused and I had an alcoholic father. Two people. Same thing happened to them, but what it meant to them was different. And when you change what something means to you, you take a different action. You take a different action, you have a different outcome. If this means that I'm horrible, like if no one is here on this live session and I still do a 30-minute live session on my own, I can make that mean that, wow, no one likes me. No one really cares about what I have to say. It's not valuable. I should just stop. I should just finish and leave YouTube, be done with all this. And that would make me do one thing. But I could also be like, it's not about the people who show up to my live session, much as I care about them. I don't get to choose how someone else experiences me. I say, but I can use this as, wow, I'm getting really courageous that I can still keep going. Because I remember doing lives when nobody was there, plenty of times. I ran programs before where only maybe one person or no one showed up. And that, I was like, this means that I'm getting stronger. And that makes me take a different action if I believe what I'm doing is making me stronger. So this is just one of the things that is, I think it's vital to remember, because we're living in a world that's it's super manipulative right now. We don't even see it, but you get manipulated so easy and you don't even know it. Simple things. Like one of my favorite shows is SpongeBob. And about 30 minutes ago, I went to buy some, like my home, the place that I've literally almost created is like a chill office lounge. And I got a bunch of bean bags and everything. Like my desk is here, but I don't sit on the desk. I'm always sitting on like a bean bag on the floor, working more on sitting on the floor. It's supposed to be very beneficial, and having to get up off the floor a lot. Beneficial because people lose that ability, believe it or not. And I forgot where I was going with that. Water break. And we got to get the likes up, people. I'm about to get off here in a second. I was going to bring some people on Zoom, but I don't think I have the energy for it. I have the energy for it, but I need to save some of my energy. Going to go for a motorcycle ride after this. One of my favorite things to do is go into the mountains. So, yeah, going to go ride, practice my riding. I think that's kind of it, guys. At the end of the day, you have to have the courage. I promise you, that's the difference between Luke who I was and the Luke who I am now. I just have more courage. That's it. And every courage, you got to remember, courage is a muscle, okay? My muscles do a lot of pull-ups, do about 50 pull-ups a day at least. So my muscles are pretty sore today. It's a day off. But every time you use your courage, it's a muscle. Every time you use your courage, it's a muscle. Courage, it's a muscle. Courage is a muscle. It's a muscle. And the more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You keep taking courage, taking the scary action, talking to people about it, sharing it, putting yourself on social media, putting yourself out there. Every time you're making that muscle stronger. But you got to remember, no matter how small you slice a piece of cake, there's always two sides. And the reverse side of that is you don't do anything. You live in a life of security. That's me sitting around here, not getting up, having a nice, comfortable couch, and just eating Oreos and burgers. I have an Oreo here, and I ate burgers last night, but I make them on a grill where they're much healthier. And that muscle goes into atrophy. And atrophy means that you just don't use that muscle. And don't get confused. Walking and moving is nice, but if you're not actually working the muscles aren't actually getting stronger. So one of the things that I do, I don't like business coaching so much because I think it's more business is like a spiritual game. So if you can get people to handle their emotions, handle their energetics, they're better. But one of the things, when it comes, why am I forgetting what I'm saying again? I get rambling off about other things, but it's going to come back to me in a second. Give me a second. Water break. And let's get the likes up, guys, while I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say. I don't remember. You must not have needed to hear it. But one of the things that I just think is so important is that you keep working that muscle. If you don't, it just gets weaker. And as much as I'm in shape and as much as I've moved my body a lot in my career, especially as a pro athlete, when I stopped playing, there's just muscles that just didn't get used. So I started CrossFit like 3 months ago, and like I was hurting bad. Like I was like, I could do box jumps and I could do pull-ups and bench press, but I just hadn't done it in forever. I hadn't done it in so long, not at that intensity that I do it, because anyone can do it once, but can you go back day after day after day? That's the difference between a pro athlete and a normal athlete. I know at least 20 people that I played basketball with back in America who could come and play on my team in a practice. They could make it through a practice without question. They maybe don't do so great in the game, but they could play in one. But the difference between them and a pro is a pro could do it today, tonight, tomorrow morning, the next night, the next morning, the next night, the next morning, the next night, then play in a game, have a day off, then do it the next morning, the night, morning, night, and keep that going for 10 months. That's the difference between a pro. And as I started to train, I started to realize, like, not only had not trained in a while, because everything I could do came back to me pretty quickly, came back in about 10 days, 2 weeks, basically. And I was back to the muscles are woken up that have been sleeping. But a lot of things in CrossFit that I do, I've never done before. Like I never really did deadlifts before. I never really did thrusters. If you guys do CrossFit, you know what these are. I've never done muscle ups. I've never done just sets of like 50 pull-ups. I've never done stuff like that. Now, and I started and it was tough, and now it's just like a normal thing. Like I go to a gym before CrossFit and do 50 pull-ups in the morning, and that's not a big deal anymore. But when I started, it was because I hadn't used those muscles and I was so sore the next day. And I think once you start creating courage and you start having more courage, those muscles wake up. But the more you let them sleep, the harder it is. The older you get, like I can tell you now, like as much as I like to think in my mind that I'm like a 21-year-old, I'm not. I'm not a 21-year-old. Could I give a 21-year-old run for the money if we play basketball? Yes, I could do better than 21 because I just know so much more. I'm much stronger. But as far as the recovery, like at 21, like I could play in a game and go out and party all night, wake up the next day, go straight to practice and still work. Like at 31, it wasn't the same. Now it's like if I go out, I also need to drink a lot of water so I can be ready for the next day. And I need to stretch in the morning just when I get up, make sure I'm good. And I got to be careful doing it 2 or 3, 4 days in a row if I'm still going to play. So it's different. But different doesn't mean bad. Different just means you're smarter. Different can be better. One of my mentors says that different is better than better. So I think as you start to work your courage, you do things courageous, doesn't matter. Just do things that are pushing you opposite. If you normally go to this store, go to another store to go shopping. Feel lost. Feel like you can go to a store and not know where anything is. That's okay. It pushes you of getting out of this normal zombie mode that so many people live in. Like if this do something else, go somewhere else. It doesn't have to be in opposite direction, park your car and go for a walk. Like you'll be surprised at what happens, who you meet, what you think of, what stimulates in your mind. Some of you guys are like, I don't know, I create content around it. If ever your content is running out, you can never run out of content because your soul is infinite. The knowledge that you have in your mind is infinite. It never stops. It never stops. So one of the things you need to remember is that if you're running out, you just need to get your mind stimulated, get around different things, different people, different environments, take a different route to work, little things. Because if you haven't been using your courage and you've been living a life of security, I can show you people who live in a life of security. They don't take any risks at all, none. And they just live this life just like this. And for some people, that's fine. At some point, you have to just believe that that's how life's supposed to be, or else you go insane to keep doing it. So that's a whole different belief system that they have in place. But for you all who know that there's something more out there, for you all who know that there's something better for you to do, what are you waiting for? That's it, guys. That's all I got to say. I'm going out into, this is how you know I'm in Mexico and I'm going into the woods. I'm going to ride my bike and have a great time in the woods, going around. You never know, there's a lot of animals and all that kind of stuff here, so I got to be careful. That's why I have a little machete with me. And we're going, gonna have fun. But want to thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. I hope these live sessions, I get a lot of people who write me and it's like, Luke, thank you for your travel videos and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate it 100%. But you all who reach out to me and leave messages and watch these videos that are live, that shows the energetics of how things that I've learned along the way, these mean the most to my soul. My soul likes to hear it. My ego likes to hear like it's cool traveling. And it's just boring to me just sharing my travels and that's it. Like life is about more than that. And it's about you all doing the things that you want to do as well. And me meeting you on your journey and you stepping up and having the courage to do what you know you should be doing. And understand that it's just courage. It's not money. It's not friends. It's not resources. It's the courage and the resourcefulness. And the more you grow that, the more you get that bigger and stronger and you work that muscle, the less things can phase you. People can say things to you, but you're so brave and so courageous, it's nothing to you. A kid who's fallen down a bunch of times as a kid isn't scared to fall when he gets older. Someone who's been protected and just had everything taken care of for them, those are the ones who will struggle. And I don't want that to be you. So take care of yourself. Enjoy, get out and get some air. I'm on my bike today. And speak to you guys later. Love you. And everyone, always remember, work hard, be brave, and don't forget to smile. Ciao. Woo.